Hi, my name is Phil and welcome to Festool TV UK. This short presentation is going to focus on the use of the Festool equipment to cut in a top-mounted sink into solid surface material. And for this application we need to use a V-shaped cutter and also the use of copy rings and some of the other Festool equipment and accessories that go with the OF2200 router. Okay, so now we've seen the application we're going to be using the machine for, we now need to set the OF2200 up to make sure we achieve the correct result. So with the OF2200, we're at variable speed. We need to make sure we have the correct speed for the correct material that we're using. And for this operation, we're going to be using this set between 4 and 5 on the indicator on this side. In the OF2200, we have a chamfer cutter fitted, and that has the correct angle to allow the top-mounted sink to be inserted into the hole once we have routed out our centre section. Now when we're routing using a template, we need to ensure that we're using the correct copy ring for the template that's provided. Within the Festool range, there'll be a copy ring suited to all the different types of templates. For this application, we use a 30mm copy ring. This copy ring is going to be running attached to the router, but we're going to be running it on the inside of the template. And this will give us the correct distance for the type of sink to be fitted into the aperture once we've cut that. So to fit a copy ring onto our router, onto the OF2200, it's very simple and easy. We don't need screws, simple and straightforward. Green lever on the inside, and we just need to bring this down and take it away. The copy ring is just inserted and sits on the inside section of the router. And because we're using a big router, it also gives us an opportunity to enhance the surface area for when we're using it. If we increase the surface area, it means we've got a bigger base support for the router to run along. And again, with Festool, it's literally, we put this into the two lugs at the base, bring it up, and click it on. Very easy. So, we now have 30mm copy ring fitted with the correct base. We now need to make sure that this side of the router is also supported. If my machine is set correctly, it means that all I have to do is to think where to push the router. The Festool system does the rest of the work for me. So the next stage is to fit the foot onto the router, and all that does is screw onto the base. And it now means I can then push this down to the correct height. So no matter where my router is while I'm using the machine, it means I'm always supported. There's no risk of the machine tipping into the opening while we're cutting. So the next crucial step is to ensure we have the correct depth adjusted to our machine. And again, with Festool, simple and easy with the OF2200. Bring the cutter down onto the surface of the material and we lock it off. Lever on the side onto the depth top stirrup, and we bring this down to make sure that's fully seated. So two things to remember: the cutter on the surface of the material and the depth stop onto the top of the turret. We then need to make sure that this section here is pushed firmly down to 0, which means we can then lift the depth stop up to 15mm and we can lock it off. And that will now give us the correct cutting depth for the template. So our next stage is to bring the router into our start position, and then we can start to route an aperture through the template using the chamfer cutter, 30mm guide ring and the wider base template. Now we're ready to go. So for using minimal materials while we're cutting them to get fine dust, what we're going to do is use a 36mm hose fitted to the OF2200, which means we get very good dust extraction draw while we're using the router. So with a 30-degree offset, it means I'm in the correct position to make sure I'm comfortable using the machine at all times. So, by using the OF2200 chamfer guided bearing 30mm copy ring, we can achieve a very fine finish on the side of where the sink is going to be inserted. When working with solid surface materials, it's important to end up with a high quality finish to ensure that what is fitted into the aperture fits easily and simply without any requirement for reworking. So, with Festool, you don't just have one way of doing something, we can also use undermounted sinks as well. So for this type of sink and aperture opening, we can use this type of cutter with a roller guided bearing on the inside, and we can then create the opening very easily and smoothly, and less time is required then for reworking or for sanding. The high quality cutters combined with the Festool system are guaranteed to provide exacting results within solid surface materials. So, thank you very much for watching. My name is Phil, and we'll see you on the next presentation.